let's see. Okay, that should solve any weird problems we have, I hope. And it looks like we are working pretty good. So I did a really short little stream yesterday because I had to basically completely rebuild my stream setup, which was a mighty pain in the ass, but it basically had to get done. For some, like, a video source was corrupted in Streamlabs, and that's what was causing the crashing. It was very strange, but basically we did it all, which gave me a good opportunity to sort of like clean everything up, right, and just kind of simplify all my streaming stuff. Hello. So I'm actually running off of the kind of fixed camera I have, so I was trying to get the hang of that yesterday. We'll try go another round today, see how it goes. I've got the other one I can pull in if I need to, but I think we should be pretty good. Like I said yesterday, since I am right-handed, I think it makes more sense to have the camera on the left, so should be pretty cool. Alrighty, so what do we got today? Well, I got a very good deal on a starter set, the like launch box for the Darkoath Savages. Now, Darkoath is not something that I was super into, but I think there's a lot of potential for kind of like fun painting with them. And some of the models in that starter box are really cool, like the big monster. It's a big like thing with spikes and all the horses looked like a lot of fun to paint. So, because of that, I actually got it cheaper than the Spearhead, although it contains way more stuff than the Spearhead. So that's pretty darn cool. So, because of that, I figured I would paint up the Darkoath models that I have already. Namely, these ones from Underworlds. So I didn't actually buy these as part for Underworlds. These came with one of like the Barnes & Noble games. So that's sort of where these are from. And this is the best one. These are shitty models. Just straight up, these are fucking terrible models. I think these models being so shitty is actually why I wasn't originally interested in the Darkoath stuff. Although the actual Darkoath models are way cooler than these. But I figure I should still paint them up anyway. And I've done a little bit of modification on them. We'll talk about that in a sec. This lady got boobs. Yeah, I sculpted some boobs on her. I actually gave this guy a butt. And this guy also has a butt. Because originally these were like the most sexless models ever fucking made. Which is really funny because they're supposed to lean into that like Conan the Barbarian, Frank Frazetta kind of aesthetic. And part of that is sort of like the wild kind of untamed nature, right? So lots of skin, lots of provocative clothing, right? Like action scenes and kind of colors blending together and all this kind of stuff. So basically taking that aesthetic and like cutting like the sexy part out of it doesn't make any sense. It kind of actually like goes against what the entire setting's about. So I tried to, this guy had like, he has these giant thighs, right? And it looks like he could fucking crush a watermelon with his thighs. But then he had an ass that could be covered by a fucking paper plate. So I sculpted him some booty cheeks. And this guy also got some booty cheeks because, again, he just didn't have an ass. Like, he was just, like, flat in the back like fucking Ken. And then this lady had, like, the tiniest little boobs. And I was like, she should have big boobs. She's, like, the leader. That should be, like, a thing. And then She also had this really stupid piece of hair that was like shooting straight up. It was the dumbest fucking thing. Did I mention these are terrible fucking models? But it was really dumb. She just had this fucking piece of hair, and I think it's supposed to be because like she has energy going and she's like casting a spell or something, but then all of her clothes are going different ways, right? Like these are going this way, and then her hair was going straight up. It looked absolutely stupid as shit. So I cut her hair off, and I turned it into a tail for this lady. Because this model I actually liked out of the set, because she reminds me of the horse, like, barbarian lady from Conan 2? I think it's Conan 2? I don't remember which one she's from. But it's the one with the, well, I guess he has like a perky thief sidekick in all of them. But I think it's the second one. But yeah, so she reminded me of that. So I was like, you know what? I'll take that lady's stupid hair and turn it into a horse tail. So, yeah, so in this set you get 5 minis and then this weird pit bull thing, which I sculpted some junk on because it had one of those weird, like, hollow crotches they do sometimes. So freaking weird. But you know what? I figured that even though these models suck, the actual Darkoath models are much cooler. I figured they would be a really nice place to kind of figure out my colors and kind of use them as like a test model set. I thought they would be super good for that. So that's what I figured we would do today. We would get in here, get to work on some of these Darkoath, and try to do some like test models with them. I thought that would be pretty fun today. So with that being said, we're going to work on the one that I think is cool first. And I'd originally painted all these like you can see I started painting them and then was just like, these suck, and I just didn't want to finish painting them. I originally started painting them all Caucasian, but since I redid this lady to be like the horse lady, that lady has like kind of super dark skin, so I don't have a skin tone I think that's that dark, but I figured we would pick one that's a little bit closer at least. So we can kind of just start replacing the like Caucasian skin with a darker skin tone there. But yeah, so when I was a little kid, I remember going over in Barnes & Noble and looking at all the like fantasy picture books from Frank Frazetta. Man, that's just some fucking cool art. Even nowadays when I see it, I'm like, man, that's so cool. So I think I'm going to grab some of the similar colors for this, because a lot of his stuff, if you've never seen it, is these like super super kind of fantasy depictions of just like badass settings, right? Like it's like a dude like battling a monkey on like a cliffside, and you know there's like a lady there, and like basically everyone's naked, right? And that's kind of what it looks like. You know, I think his most famous picture is one called Death Dealer, I think, Deathbringer, something like that. And it's this like dark armored warrior riding a horse. And it really kind of sums up that era of just like badass fantasy art, right? But in a lot of his stuff, it has these really kind of like watercolor backgrounds, where it's some color kind of blending and being worked into another one, right? So it's like a blue background that transitions to orange, you know. And on top of that, there's all this kind of like crazy detail, like a dude fighting a bunch of other naked dudes in like an arena or something, you know. And it's super cool. It has a really unique kind of, for the time, like 80s kind of like barbarian kind of aesthetic, and kind of in my brain really defines sort of like what that looks like. So I kind of want to do something similar with the Darkoath. So having these guys as test models is actually fantastic, because I can try that out, because I've been kind of in like a purple mood. So I wanted to maybe do some purple on these guys. So maybe something like all their cloth is purple, and then, you know, some of their cloth is like maybe like a yellow or a blue, something like that, right? Or maybe it's a situation where, you know, some of it is blue and then we pull in a red. Really not sure. But, you know, or maybe it's a thing where like they all have crazy bright colored hair, or maybe they have woad all over themselves. You know, there's a lot of options with this kind of aesthetic. The like fantasy barbarian aesthetic. There's a lot of different ways we could go. So even though these models suck, these ones from like Warband, this is like Kagra's Ravagers or something. I don't remember. So it's one of the freaking Warbands. But like I said, I got them in a box. One of the like Barnes & Noble boxes that they do, which a lot of those are usually pretty fun games, might I add. But this one came with the like Chaos Warband people, and I wanted those models, and it was actually cheaper to buy the Barnes & Noble game than it was to buy the models by themselves. So it's what I ended up doing. So these guys basically were just sort of like free, and I was like, oh, I'll paint those up. And then once I built them and started painting them, I was like, man, these models suck. So, you know. So they have lived on in a box on my floor forever because of that. And now we are using them as a test bed. Now, one of the weird things about these models is that they all have like this fur around the top of their belts. And my first inclination would be to use that as one of the color pieces, like one of the sections of bright color. But I also kind of want to use that as actual fur color, like a gray or something. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, her skin needs to dry. While her skin dries, you know what? We'll actually use that same color for the base of the dog. So I've done the dog in skin color before, and it just looks weird. Or, you know, like Caucasian skin color, I guess. And then just like weird flesh dog is weird. So we'll start with this brown, and then we'll mix other colors into it. But at least we did, so it'll at least have a little bit of a not peachy based coat. I've seen a lot of people paint this dog like a Doberman, but it's some kind of like weird chaos cat pit bull thing. It's a really strange creature. It's kind of like a dog, but it's got like a jaguar face, and then it also has like spikes all over it. Weird flippin' monster, I tell you. Now a lot of these minis for what the hell is the name of this game? The card game, Underworlds. A lot of the minis for Underworlds are some of the best GW minis, but then sometimes they really miss the mark. But like some of the stuff like Moloch's Mob, All the like almost all their chaos stuff is just awesome. Just really fantastically cool minis. And it's kind of a shame that a lot of these, they used to have rules for use in other games like Age of Sigmar and stuff. And a lot of them have basically been kind of phased out. A lot of these even got rules for Warcry, which is why I own a bunch of them, so I could use them in Warcry, in addition to them just being fun models to paint. Because I used to be super into Warcry before I got into like one-page rules, and now I'm just like, I can have the same thing but more fun. What? You're actually gonna, there's actually a real solo like addition to the game? What is this madness, you know? So yeah. Oop. Sorry, did not mean to punch that. Alright, well, let's see. I guess we'll also work on this guy. Yeah, he's got the butt I sculpted on him. So we'll touch up his skin and then we'll start picking out some stuff. These guys, they all have a bunch of leather on them, and some of them have metals. So I started doing the metals in like a brass, because I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll do these guys like corn. But yeah, I don't know. I just like the models so much that I was like, no, I'm good. But I'm very happy to say that the actual Darkoath models are much cooler. But it is interesting how a couple bad models from a range can really kind of put you off it, you know what I mean? Because like I hadn't really considered picking up some Darkoath stuff, and then sitting at the hospital having kind of like a, we'll say a bad day, and then sitting there browsing, just like shopping online to try to get my mind off things, and Amazon was like, hey, are you interested in this super mega deal? And I was like, yes, I am. So I ended up getting that launch box for actually cheaper than the Darkoath Spearhead, which is kind of funny because it has like exponentially more shit in it. But I guess the Darkoath Spearhead, or the Darkoath launch box, was not very popular, I guess. And I mean, that does happen sometimes with the GW launch boxes. Sometimes they just don't sell, it seems, and they just live forever in a store. So they do sometimes get reduced. It's something that you see, I hate to say it, a lot with Necromunda. A lot of the Necromunda boxes you can end up getting on sale. I think you can still get the Ash Waste box, which was like $300 or something when it launched. I think it's like $150 now. So yeah, sometimes they just don't do super well. Alrighty, let's see, what do we got? Let's paint in some of the armor. So chainmail. Oh, the color I used before was kobold skin. Which is sort of my kind of like generic white people skin color I use for everything. I like it a lot. I think it looks really nice. So I like kobold skin. This is chainmail silver. It's a little bit darker of a silver from Vallejo. You can see I originally used some kind of brighter silver here. I'm just going to paint over all of that. So I do kind of like this darker one. I think the original color here is Chainmail from Army Painter. Just kind of funny given that they both have the same name. Or maybe this was Shining Silver from Army Painter. I'm not sure. But yeah, so the Darkoath are interesting. On one hand, I really like their lore, and then on the other hand, I think their lore is dumb. Because they are kind of like Chaos Light. You know, they're barbarians that worship XYZ Chaos God. They don't end up having all of the crazy like mutations and things that like the pure Chaos worshippers have. And that's kind of interesting, right? Like, I like the idea that they're kind of more like their own thing. But it does also mean that lumping them in with chaos is kind of weird, you know? Because like you can have these guys who just are kind of like barbarians, and then you can have giant like meat rotting horror from Nurgle like right next to them, you know? And that's kind of strange to me. Just from like a concept and kind of like lore standpoint, right? Like, I think if these guys kind of saw that kind of stuff, they'd be like, yeah, that's not what I'm looking for, homie. You know? So, yeah, so it strikes me as strange that they kind of fall into chaos, and really they're kind of like an in-between almost, you know? But like if all the chaos gods were real, you would have kind of these offshoots of them, you know? Where people connect to the energy in some way, but maybe not like the pure or more kind of destructive ways that other people are using it. And I think that's interesting, right? Because all the Warhammer Chaos Gods are actually like good things. They're just a corruption of it because of essentially all the garbage in the warp. You know, Slaaneish's love and passion, and, you know, you have Nurgle, who's growth and, you know, essentially a nature god. You know, but it becomes rot and stagnation as it's that sort of corruption of it. And that's kind of interesting, right? Because that base emotion's still kind of there in the gods, you know, and you would, even though they're corrupted, you would have people kind of worshiping that, right? Like I could easily see people worshiping Nurgle for good harvests and stuff. You know, like someone giving their wife like a Slaanesh pendant on you know, Valentine's Day kind of thing. Not that there's Valentine's Day in Warhammer Fantasy, but you know what I mean. Like I could easily see that kind of like thing being an actual thing. I think that's pretty neat. So, you know, these guys are kind of like an extension of that line of thought, you know? They're like, what if chaos gods, but not pure terrible? So, yeah, I'm just going to lump all the metals together into the same color because honestly, I think if I pull out just the armor into its own color, that means that like these guys don't have a lot of blades or anything, right? They have like one weapon, it'll really mean that that weapon color is kind of off on its own. And I'd rather have that weapon color be kind of shared more across the model, even if it means I have less total colors on the model. Getting this guy's belt sucks. And yeah, you can see that the brass doesn't is not taking the paint super well, so some of these are going to have more than one coat. This guy's got like a very Grognak the Barbarian helmet. It's kind of neat. Spike will make that metal too. Maybe we'll end up repainting that into bone, but I want to see what it looks like in metal first. But yeah, you can see like this is, we're just trying to get our base colors on there, and then we'll sort of go back and clean them all up after all of our base coats are on there. So I'm going to probably not do too many of these guys, just so we can get maybe one or two of them done. Like fully done, you know what I mean? There we go. Let's see. She's got some kind of little pendant thing there on her chest. And then she's got a spike bracelet there. And she's got some kind of belt head here. Belt buckle, that's the word. There we go. Oh man. But yeah, it's been some crazy times, so it's really nice to, I don't know. Hobby is very nice when everything's going crazy, because it's some tiny bit of the world that you control, you know. I want this guy's boots to be blue or whatever, right? And you can just be like, boop, blue boots, you know. And that's really nice, especially when there's a lot of bad shit going on that you have no control over, you know. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed by it all. You know, and the nice thing is with these, like, there's also very much like sort of that instant gratification, right? Like, you put the paint on and you watch it transform in real time, and that's really nice. I've been waiting all weekend for potentially some bad news, so having that kind of instant gratification is nice, right? Like, it's immediately something you control, and it's immediately like something that something that, like, you know, happens right then. That immediacy is really nice. So I'm probably not gonna full paint this guy, but I still have some silver out, so I figured I might as well hit his sword one time. Just because I had it out, still in the palette. All right, I guess we will start pulling in colors now. So this is one of my new favorite colors. This is Moldy Wine from the Fanatics line. I fucking love this color. It is so much fun. I actually just used it to paint Oh, this bombshell lady. I call her that, but I think she's actually from Bombshell Miniatures. I thought she would make a cool, like, 1950s kind of spy for my World War II stuff. So, I just used it on her dress, and I really like this color a lot. So, when I couldn't sleep on Friday night, her and a bunch of other random minis from my desk are what got painted. Including things like starting to paint this Tiger 3 or Panther 3. Panzer 3. You know, so the kind of stuff that got painted just because it was sitting on my desk forever, right? Alright, so let's see. We're going to take the moldy wine, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit the like loincloths on these. Alright, and then I'm going to kind of go from there. So I'm not super sure what other color I want to pull in. Alright, I kind of, to be honest, kind of want to do orange. But not everybody has two sources of cloth, so I'm not sure where I'm going to do that. But yeah, it's a cool color. I like that color a lot. I'm a big fan of that one. Yeah, so much of the Frazetta kind of paintings are like watercolor. They're probably actually not actually watercolor, but they look like watercolor to me. With these like kind of swirling kind of colors from, you know, these really contrast things like blue to yellow, or, you know, super pale skin to like a dark purple background, you know, that kind of thing. That I'd like to do some of that somehow, but I'm not super mega sure how to accomplish it on these models, to be honest. There we go. Right, because like my first inclination would be, oh, I'll paint one set of the cloth in purple and then one set of the cloth in orange, right? But I think it might actually be a thing where I'm going to paint everything in purple and then maybe I'll highlight it in orange. Sounds like fun. I've been doing a lot of volumetric highlighting lately on things, and it's been quite enjoyable. Volumetric highlighting is where you try to paint areas a little lighter when they sort of like, to kind of like add extra definition to the model. It is surprisingly fun sometimes. It really hits the spot. I did it on all of my goals, actually. Because the goal situation was funny, because I bought goals 3 different times and painted them 3 different times, and each time they wound up being different. So I essentially built a green filter and then volumetrically painted it over all of the models so that they all actually matched instead. Because I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do with this. I was like, I don't want 3 different sets of mismatching goals. So, and it worked really good. It gave them a nice uniform kind of skin tone that worked really well. I'm quite happy with it. I didn't do the best job painting it in every regard, but I'm happy with the progress I made on it at least. So, you know, cause some of them are just, you know, when you're doing something new, it's easy to screw it up, you know. So mistakes were made, but I'm happy with the progress, and I think that's really all you can kind of ask for, you know, when you're painting minis. Everything you paint's not going to be like Golden Demon, right? But you know, if you're happy with what you've accomplished, that's about as good as you can get, really, you know. Yeah, see, I had to get up in there, so I'll have to re-hit all his skin, but we know we had to do that anyway, so. Alright. What are we going to do now? Let's do a brown, I guess. This is a little bit of a warmer kind of brown. I grabbed this one because I thought it would be different than the onyx skin that I used for this lady's skin. I don't know if it's going to be different enough, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, with the new Army Painter line, there's so many fun skin tones. I used to paint a lot of things just like in the same skin tone, but to be honest, it's actually a lot more fun to do different ones and have kind of like a variety of sort of like different tones in your soldiers and stuff. It's pretty cool. I started doing that in my World War II Marines because I wanted some guys that look Native American, right, for like the code talkers kind of thing. I've just sort of carried it out now through all my models, and it's pretty cool. It actually really adds a nice look to like a force. Alright, so let's see. This lady is wearing kind of like a shirt with some cloth strap or some leather straps over it. So we're I think paint in the leather straps first, and then we'll kind of go from there. So really we should be painting in the shirt first before we do the leather straps, but I didn't think about it, so I mean, we're gonna have to clean everything up anyway. No, it's fine, but you know, you would have had an easier time if I'd done it the other way first. And yeah, I had to use a little bit of green stuff on her to get the tail to stick. For the life of me, I just could not get it to glue on with super glue. Nice. Okay. And I noticed kind of a weird little spot here on her hip, and I'm just gonna paint it in the purple because it will make my life easier. I think technically it's supposed to be her like pants color, but we're just gonna paint it in the purple because it's a tiny weird little spot. Ugh. But yeah, still trying to get caught up on all my projects. I say as I'm like, I bought this new thing, which definitely has not helped that initiative. I mean, buying that other box of ghouls also did not help that initiative, but I really enjoyed painting them, so. But I mean, that is what it is, you know. Since I had to redo my entire streaming setup yesterday, I actually got a ton of cleaning done here in my craft room, which is super good. I got a whole lot of what I call mental illness boxes thrown out. That's kind of where like I start a project and then I'll kind of chuck it in a box and then it gets mixed with other projects and you know, it just becomes this kind of like box of garbage, you know, and it's the stuff in it's still good. It's just like it's not doing me any good sitting there in a half a Gundam box, you know. So I actually got through a whole bunch of those and sorted them out and got a lot of them kind of resorted and repackaged and got them in kind of in a place where they make more sense, you know, where I can work on them. You know, like I had one that was just, it was 4 lizard men in a box, and I was like, why the hell do I have 4 lizard men in a box? Right? It's like I have 2 other boxes that are open and just sitting here of lizard men. Why are they all not in the same freaking box? You know, it's stuff like that. But you know, going through that meant that I got to basically get rid of 2 boxes and condense it all into 1 box. And now if I need lizard men or I'm in the mood for painting lizard men, like I can go to one spot and have a whole bunch of options, you know. Lizard men are sort of like Tyranids to me. They're one of those things that I really want to paint, but there's so many options that like I have a really hard time picking what colors to do. Right, like it legitimately took me 2 years of painting test models to get colors that I like enough for my Tyranid army. And now I love my Tyranids. I think they're beautiful, but it legitimately took me that long because you know, there's so many options for painting that kind of thing, right? Like do insects or crabs or, you know, just something really out there. Do you paint them like xenomorphs or, you know, there's just so many options. So like when you're faced with that many options, it's really easy to get the like decision paralysis kind of thing. My lizard men are the same way. Like I pulled one out the other day just because I wanted to paint one. Because there's this fucking stupid like meme character that shows up on my Facebook feed every now and then, and it's painted like a blue-tailed skink. This stupid meme character is. So I was like, you know what? I want to paint one like a blue-tailed skink. So that's what I did. You know, but he's just sitting here, right? Like, oh, he doesn't have an army. He doesn't have anything else, you know. If I play, come on. If I play Fantasy Quest, you know, he'll be great because I can just add him to a force and have him be a hero. But, you know, like he's, you know, not part of an army or anything. He's just kind of there, you know. I didn't want to paint 9 others like blue-tailed skinks, you know, I just wanted one blue-tailed skink guy. Alright. Let's see. Let's break out some... Feeling Tomb King tan? Or are you feeling Game Color Khaki? I think we're feeling Game Color Khaki. I'm going to break this out for some of the cloth, I think. That's not the loincloths. So that'll be this guy's sculpted butt here that I sculpted. And we'll see how the sculpting looks. Damn, he got some crack. But at least now he actually has an ass. As before, he could literally murder you with his thighs. They were so large, but Man, he misglued Stay Hard. So, not my best work sculpting, but at least now he actually hasn't a fucking ass. Go. And then let's see, he's got some fur there, he's got some fur there, he's got this little piece here in the helmet. We can do that in the tan too. And he actually has that on the same other side as well. Okay. And I'm sure I've missed some stuff, but we're moving along. And that is super good. We are making progress. That's all you can ever ask to do, is make progress, you know? Alright, let's see. Our lady here, she has kind of like almost denim jeans on, kind of. It's really weird. This lady is definitely my favorite model out of the set. Just because I feel like she actually has some like more character to her than some of the others do. Her spear is kind of weird though, because it's like the Romans used spears like this. What they were for was going into a shield and then breaking, so people had to drop their shields. They were kind of like these little javelins that they used. I don't remember what they're called, but it's kind of weird. Her spear looks like that, but she definitely does not seem like the kind that would throw her javelin and expect it to break, kind of thing, you know what I mean? She's got more of like an Amazon woman kind of look to her, but it's like, I don't know if she'd have that kind of spear then, you know? See. Some of the cloth detail on her back is really faint and really soft. So I apologize if you are having trouble seeing it, because I am also having trouble seeing it, because the detail is so freaking faint. And once you get a little bit of paint on it, it's like, oh, there it is. But until then, it's tough. One way to help with this would actually be to get a light base coat down on the entire model, and then hit it with a wash. That would be one way to help with that a lot. Because then if you have a dark wash, it'll like seep into all the cracks. and you'll be able to see it better. Alright, let's see. I want her to have kind of, I feel like she needs to have dark hair. Oh, so we're going to grab my favorite black color, which is dark neutral gray. There we go. I like this because it makes a nice black color, but the black color is not so dark that you can't see washes on it. Because it actually, as the name would suggest, being gray, it actually just makes a really dark gray. But to be honest, it's so close to black that it's like, ah, yes, that's clearly black. You know what I mean? Like it reads as black, but can still have some definition. It's very easy to pick like the darkest black and then you can't actually see any of the detail in the freaking model, you know? My first Death Guard that I ever painted were that way. They were so dark that I had a lot of trouble trying to do details on them because they were just so dark. But that's how we learn, right? We make mistakes. And we try to learn from those mistakes, you know? Okay. There we go. So that's her hair and horsetail all done, or mostly done. This other guy doesn't have any hair that you can see, so we don't have to worry about that. Things we still need to do. We need to paint her pole. We need to do all the fur. So let's grab light gray. In this case, we're going to use ash gray for the fur. And we're going to see if we like that. So like I said, it would be really easy to do the fur in another bright color and have that kind of contrast be our color. But I don't think I like that idea. I think I'd rather have the fur be a natural color. Maybe we'll do like a contrasting highlight on the cloth or something after washes. I think that's probably a better idea. Because I don't know if the minis that come in the starter box, if they all have this same kind of like fur around the top of the leg motif that all these guys do. So I was looking at them though. Man, that monster is really cool. It comes with, and it's really neat. The banner lady, the lady with the banner, is actually kind of like a bigger, chunkier lady. And I was like, that's cool as shit. I thought that was super cool. So she's kind of like a big, thick lady holding the banner. I was like, that's pretty awesome. And there's one that very clearly looks like Kratos. There's one that kind of looks like an older guy, and I was like, that's pretty cool. You know? Inclusion in the Chaos Warband. Joking aside, it actually is really cool. So, yeah, but I don't know if all those minis, if they have the same kind of motif. So I'm not going to try to double my colors down on that motif when I don't know if they're all going to have it. And I really like that tail in her. That's really cool. Okay. Now this guy also has all the fluffy fur on his feet. He also has the boots with the fur. The fur. Whole club was looking at her. You know, kind of thing. So. But yeah, so this is our base coating step. And then I think I'm going to try to get these two done on stream today. Like full done, I think. Because these guys, I think annoyingly, I'm actually out of strong tone. And on yesterday, I actually went to the freaking hobby shop. And I was like, I need to get strong tone. And then as soon as I got in there, I just totally forgot. My brain just like shut down. I even bought other paints. It was like the primary thing I bought while I was at the freaking hobby shop, and I forgot to get strong tone. So we'll use a different tone for these guys. I was actually thinking maybe Dark's Flesh Wash. I thought might be kind of cool for them. So let's see. He's got that little bit of fur there. A little bit up and under his arm there. All right. Nice. Okay. Well, that's most of their colors down. So now I think we're going to move into the cleanup step. So this guy has a little bird skull. So I think lore-wise, this warband is supposed to be like a Tzeentch worshipping warband, which is why this guy has a coin for the bird god, and one coin for the bird god. But yeah, I think they're supposed to be a Tzeentch warband, or a Tzeentch adjacent kind of thing. Because the lady that's supposed to be like a caster, who I think is like the leader of this warband, she has like an eye growing out of her hand. And yeah, I think I'm going to paint this back as bone. I think that's cool. But yeah, she's got like an eye growing out of her hand, so I think she's supposed to be like Tzeentch. But now she's just going to be purple. There we go. Okay, now should the horns on this guy's helmet also get painted? I'm kind of feeling yes, that they shouldn't be metal. They should be this as well. As I completely fucked that up. Also, it just occurred to me that the top of his helmet is not painted. So we will have to do that as well. Okay, this is the joys of the cleanup step. Alright, so the top of his helmet, I guess, should also be the color that is hanging on the sides. So it should be this tan as well. Yep, that looks right. That looks right. There we go. And then we can clean up this tan in a couple of spots. ahead and we'll hit things like his booty. I didn't do a terrible job sculpting a blood on him. In retrospect, maybe if I hadn't done it at like midnight, I could have done a better job. But I don't think I did a bad job. So I missed the top of his like panties. There they go. They have like a little ridge that's popping up. All right. Cool. So what color does she? Let's see. She's gonna need that same kind of, just kind of clothing tan as well. Boop 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 boop. Oh, man. All right, cool. All right. Oh, my guts are like instantly upset. Fuck, where did that come from? Oh. Oh, excuse me, man. This will touch up the metal color next. Boop boop boop. Let's see, because we forgot this guy's wrist here. All right. And we can just touch up assorted little bits of metal as we see them. Nothing too crazy, you know? There we go. Let's see, we'll check this shoulder pad. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Okay, cool. All right. And then we'll check the silver on this lady. We still need to paint her pole. We'll get that in a minute. Get the diamond there in her chest. We need a color for those jewels because I know a couple of them have them. Do them in a red. I could do them in a gold. Got some options. She also has like a rune on her her loincloth. We need to paint that in too. What color do we want the rune to be? I think maybe gray. I don't know. We'll just do it in gray, I guess. Let's do the rune in a weird color. And we'll use that, yeah, we'll use that same color for the jewels. So we'll do this kind of bright blue. That'll give me a way to at least have an additional kind of bright color on here. Yeah, and then we can also do things like this jewel here in this same blue. Just get one on the back too. There we go. And then we can do that same thing on the jewel on the top of this guy's helmet. There we go. Nice. He doesn't have any runes or anything, does he? I feel like he actually might. He actually does. Wow, that's really hard to see. Those details are. He has 2 little runes hanging from a chain on the front of his loincloth. That's really hard to see. Excuse me, by the way. My family was out here visiting last week, which is why I didn't stream. But I 100% think they got me sick. Which is why I've been running to the bathroom every single time I eat anything. Yeah, so the joys of visitors. It was great to see them, joking aside. But man, I do think I've been fucking sick as shit all week. Okay, let's see. He's got his belt done. Okay, we need to touch up some brown, and then we touch up skin tones. And then I think we're ready for washes, and then we'll be ready for highlights after that. So let's do the Caucasian skin first. Shouldn't be a lot of this. I know I hit a spot on his inner thigh with the cloth color that I wanna cover over. I was thinking I could also just use Pro Acryl Brown Wash, which is a pretty dope wash, if I'm honest. I do like that one quite a bit. But that one leaves a lot of like brown left over, so it's good to thin it with something. Okay. All right. I see one spot I have to do on his head crest real quick. There we go. And then he's ready for brown touch up, and then will then be ready for washes. So going back to our leather brown. Now the funny thing is these guys, like, you know, it's very much a like batch painting thing, would take a lot of time out of the painting of these models. Because I could be like, okay, everyone's getting their boots. Everyone gets their boots kind of thing. It would just drop a lot of the time. But, I mean, painting is the hobby, right? Like, the fact it takes time is just a side effect of the hobby. It's like, you know, I don't want to rush having fun kind of thing, you know? I want to enjoy myself and do the part that I want to do, which is the painting part, you know? Wow, look at all that silver there. I gotta screw that. I gotta fix that up. My brain was like, you screwed that up. And I was like, no, I need to say I need to fix it. It's like, you need to fix that up. But yeah, I gotta get that too. Alright, we'll do that next. So if you are a neater painter than me, lots of this kind of cleanup step. You don't have to redo this, right? This is just because I know I'm kind of like a sloppy painter. That I know I need to do this cleanup step. It's one of the things that will make a model look really nice when you go to do washes, is having clean lines around things. So having kind of bleed and stuff sort of gets in the way of that, and it will make your models look worse. So if you have clean lines and then do washes, it generally looks nicer. All right, let's see. Does this lady need some brown touch up? Probably. Oh, she actually needs gray touch up because I screwed up somewhere and got some brown on her gray. Okay, that's fine. Oh, she actually has 2 runes on her belt too. Weird. Okay. Yeah, that detail's super hard to see. Yeah, see? That's like 2 and like a chain. So weird. Alright, let's see. What else does she need? She needs skin, and then we need to paint her stick. Let's do all the wood on these guys in kind of this tan color instead of brown. They have a lot of brown already. This is going to make it more of like a teak wood, but I think it will be a nice bit of little contrast. Okay, now she just needs some skin touch up, and then they both get to chill out for a minute while their paints settle, and then I do washes. And we can talk about our wash options after I finish her skin tone. So we've got a couple wash. Oh, I have to do her gray too. Fuck. Let's do that first before I forget about it, because I hit her boots somewhere. Where was it? Oh, guess maybe I didn't. Okay. Alright, cool. That'll take less work. And then we can talk about our wash options. So we have a couple different options for washes for these. You can see I'm just kind of touching around with it. Make sure we've got like a good coat of it in some of the weirder areas, you know, making sure there's no kind of like bleed over or anything. Definitely have some errors on her head because I hit part of her head when I was painting her mohawk. Alright, there she is. So that is our kind of end result there before washes. So she's going to hang out, and our bro here is going to hang out for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to do some washes, and then we'll do some other detailing and stuff on them. Let me put some more brown on this dog since I have it out. There we go. All right, let's talk about washes. Okay, since I'm out of strong tone, because what I would normally do is just slap strong tone on these guys. Since I'm out of strong tone, we have a couple options. We've got the Pro Acryl Brown Wash. This is a thicker brown wash that settles kind of a richer brown in the crevices. It behaves kind of like a mix between speed paint and regular wash. I like it a lot. It's what I do all my World War II stuff in. We also have this Umber wash here from Vallejo. I used to love this, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't been behaving right now. And it comes off very glossy and doesn't really leave the color behind that I want it to. So I actually haven't been using this very much because of that. I used to love it though. And then we have Dark Skin Shade. A Dark Skin Shade is a mix of purple and brown wash. This is a cool wash. I love this one. It's one of the new Fanatics ones. I think this is actually what I might do for all my Darkoath, because I think it might look really cool over the armor, and I think it might look really cool over the purple. So all right, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna make a little mixture out of this instead of using it neat, and I'm going to mix Dark Skin Shade and a little bit of Speed Paint Medium, and we're gonna mix it in like a 3-to-1 ratio. 3, 4, 5, 6. So Dark Skin Shade and then 3-to-1. 1, 2. A little bit extra. All right, now when we put this over, we should get kind of a purpley brown wash. It should be a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and start slapping it on. No real rhyme or reason to where I'm starting. I just kind of want it all over the mini and all over the model. All right, it's going to give me some kind of brownie, a little bit like kind of purpley kind of wash everywhere. All right. So we'll take a little bit to dry, right? All washes always do, but should have a start of something good pretty much right away. We'll get a nice idea to see if this is going to work well or not. You can see I kind of like instead of moving my brush around a lot, I tend to just wiggle the model everywhere. Just sort of makes it easier, so I always have a good way to kind of approach painting the model. And so it's like I want to get in a nook and cranny. I'm not like, you know, I just have my hand on the desk and then I kind of wiggle the model everywhere instead. All right, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull some of that off. Some of the areas that I think it looks a little dark. Specifically, it's a lot of the skin kind of areas, because I want some of that crest like kind of detail. So like kind of like, I was thinking the word crescent, but that's wrong. But that like kind of upper detail, I want that. But I don't want these really, really, really dark spots in some of the areas. So just gonna go through and pull those off. And yeah, and there we go. So that's one guy with detail painting and base coats painting, touch up, and then washes. So we'll set him off to the side for a moment and we'll do our spear horse lady, who I think is still my favorite mini from this whole group. I just think she's super fucking cool. This is making me think that, man, I have not seen Conan in a long time. I was looking at some Frazetta artwork this morning. Man, I haven't really looked at that in forever either, right? And I mentioned, I remember going to Barnes & Noble and looking at all the art books for the Frazetta stuff. Just because it was like, you know, spicy, you know? Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a long time either. When I was looking at it this morning, I was like, oh man, I remember this one of the dude with like the snake crawling between his legs. Like, that's fucking cool as shit. Dun, 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 dun. Let's hit this hand a little bit more. All right, there we go for her too. That's both them together, the two that we painted today. I'm pretty happy with those basically just as they are, to be honest. Once this dries up, all the glow, like all the shine will go away. That's pretty darn cool. Now I would like to get another contrast color in there somehow. I have this. I just picked this up the other day. This is German orange. Maybe I can, I don't know, maybe highlight their like loincloths or something with it, maybe. I think we'll give it a try. Alright, worst case, we screw up and we learn something, and then we, you know, don't do it next time. Yeah, it's kind of hard because his loincloth is like largely covered in runes. And this paint is very thin. Yeah, we're gonna go with no on that. I like the idea, but I don't think I can pull it off effectively. I could. I could try like splotching some of it on to different areas. But I think that's what that's going to do, is it's just going to give me more color modulation in the purple. It's not necessarily what I want. Thanks. If we make it too much more orange, it's just going to wind up looking like a flesh tone, to be honest. Okay, here's an idea. I'm going to leave him like that for now. What we're going to do is we're instead going to try a different purple. I really like that moldy wine, but this is Diabolic Plum. I'm going to try this out because I think that highlighting it with that orange is not going to work the way I want it to. I think it's just going to combine. I think it's going to I think it's just going to end up being kind of like a fleshy tone, which is really not what I want at all. So I think we'll try to do the same thing. Kind of try to lightly paint this in some areas over top of the wash and over top of the moldy wine. Right. I think that will give it some color variety. I think that might look pretty darn cool. These colors might also be close enough that you're not really going to see it, so maybe I should be doing this with something like a bright neon pink. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe switching into a slightly kind of richer kind of purple in some areas might look kind of cool, I think. So I did this. I'll grab one of my guys in a second. I'll show you what I did. But I did this kind of similar thing on my ghouls, and I really like it. I was trying to do something similar here, but I don't know if it's going to work. I kind of like painted in portions of it, and it gave it kind of like a color modulation that was neat. You know, I don't know if it's going to work here, but let me show you what I did on the ghouls. Here we go. You can see it pretty good on this one. So see the banner, how it's like different skin tones, and then some areas are lighter than others. I just think that looks really cool. So this is kobold skin with flesh wash over it, and then either kobold skin and banshee brown in different kind of splotches around it. And I think it looks really neat. It's kind of what I was hoping to do here with the orange, but I don't think it really worked. You can again see it really well in this guy. Alright, so like his cowl is done the same way. It kind of just makes this kind of like splotchy looking kind of flesh. I think it looks really, really cool. So yeah, it's kind of what I was trying to do. I don't think it worked though. Definitely didn't work with the orange. Not sure if it worked with the purple yet. I don't think I'm going to be able to see that until it dries. But that's our two dudes done. There they are. Here's our two dudes right there. All painted up. Looking mighty fine, might I add. Definitely pretty dope. Would have liked to get some other kind of contrast color in there. But I just don't see a way to do it in the model, to be honest. So, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'll go ahead and call it there. And if I have any other ideas, I can add them in. There's his booty that I sculpted. It's not the best booty, but it's better than the fact he had none. Some weird ass Ken doll. Literally. But yeah, pretty darn cool. She's really cool. That's a cool mini. I will definitely be using her in like Warhammer Fantasy Quest. Not Warhammer, OPR Fantasy Quest. She'll definitely be getting used because she's cool as shit. Alright, but I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you had a good one, and I hope you keep on keeping on.